Hello friends, welcome to Access Zombie Code. Let's start our today tutorial on database. Before going to know about database, let's know about what is data. Data is a collection of distinct small unit of information. It means if we think about a person, then the information is like his name, his address and his number, etc. The information of a person. The data word came from the word datum. Datum means single piece of information. Now let's know about database. What is database? A database is an organized collection of data so that it can be easily accessed and managed by. The main purpose of the database is to operate a large amount of information and storing and retrieving and managing the data. There are many databases available in market like MySQL, SQL, MongoDB, Oracle, etc. Let's understand the type of the database. The type of database are classified according to the uses of the database. There are many database types in market like centralized, distributed, relational. Let's know some type of database. Centralized database. It is the type of database that stores the data at a centralized database system. Then distributed database. In distribution database, data are distributed among the different database of the organization. Next is relational database. This database is based on the relational data model, which store the data in the form of the row and column. Next is NoSQL database. It is not a relational database as it stores the data not only in tabular form but in several different ways. Next is cloud type database. This type database where the data is stored in a virtual environment and execute over the cloud computing platform. In database, there is a word called RDMS. What is RDMS? RDMS stands for Relational Database Management System. It called RDMS because it is based on the relational model. All modern databases are based on the RDMS management. The relational database is most commonly used. It contains the number of tables. Each table has a own primary key. Due to the collection of the organized set of table and data, it can be easily accessed. So, what is the difference between DBMS and RDMS? RDMS applications store the data in tabular form, whereas DBMS applications store the data as a file. In RDMS, the tables have an identifier called primary key. In DBMS, the data is generally stored in either a hierarchy form or a navigational form. Normalization is present in RDMS and it was not present in DBMS. RDMS supports distributed database, whereas DBMS does not support. In database, there are some keywords. Let's know one by one. First is table. What is table? In RDBMS database, we use table to store the data. Table is a collection of related data. Next is field. What is field? The field is a smaller entity of the table which contains the specific information about the record in the table. Next is row. What is row or a record? A row of a table is called record. It contains the specific information of each individual entry in the table. It is a horizontal entity in the table. Then column. What is column? A column is a vertical entity in the table which contains all the information associated with a specific field in the table. Next is null value. The null value of the table specifies that the field has been blank during the inserting of the record. Let's know about key in database. What is key? A key is a value used to identify a record in the table. A key could be a single column or a combination of multiple columns. Then super key. A super key is a set of one or more than one key that can be used to identify a record uniquely in the table. For example, primary key, unique key, alternate key are the subset of the super key. The candidate key. A candidate key is a set of one or more field or column that can be identify a record uniquely in the field. Now primary key. What is primary key? Primary key is a set of one or more column of the table that uniquely identify a record in the database table. Primary key cannot accept the null value or duplicate value. Alternate key. Alternate key is a key that can work as a primary key. Basically, it is a candidate key that currently is not a primary key. Next is composite key. Composite key is a combination of more than one column or field of a table. Unique key. Unique key is a set of one or more column field that can be used to identify a single column of a table. It is like a primary key, but it can accept only the null value, but it cannot accept the duplicate value. Next is foreign key. Foreign key is a field in the table that is a primary key of another table. It can be a null value or it can be a duplicate value. So, how the database are designed? Which norm we are following to create a database design? So, let's know about normalization of database. What is normalization? Normalization is a database design technique that reduce the data redundancy and eliminate the undesirable character like intersection, update, and deletion. Normalization rules divides larger table into a smaller table and link them using the relationship. So now we know normalization. Let's know the type of the normalization form. There are 6 types of normalization form present in database. First normalization form, second normal form, third normal form, fourth normal form, fifth and sixth normal form. So let's know one by one. What is normalization form say and how we can use in our database table design. First normalization form. Each table cell should be contain a single value. Each record need to be unique, which means if we create a table, each record should be a unique value. Next is second normal form. Second normal form said that be in first normalization, and second rule is single column of a primary key. If we create a table, a column must have be a primary key. Next is third normalization form. It's a be in second normalization form, and second rule is has no transitive function dependency. Next is fourth normalization form. If no database table instance contains two or more independent and multi-valued data describing the relative entity, then it is the normalization form 4. Fifth normalization form said that it cannot be decomposed into any number of small table without losing any data. The last one is sixth normalization is not standard. It is being discussed by database expert for some time. Let's take an example how we can design a database. So I have a table of actors name, actor address and actors numbers, titles, and titles means movies name and movies release years. So what is the disadvantage of single table? You can see if one actor having the same data of multiple times in this table. So his data is repeated because of he did a top movie which are released in 2006. Now you can see also there are two actors which they are belongs to same address. Because of this address or because of two actor, there are two record field are present of the same address. These are the disadvantage, which is increase the number of row of a table and retrieving time will be greater than a normal time. So how we can distribute this table by using the data normalization form. So let's create our first table which contain the actor name. First normalization form that said that a table contains all the record uniquely. So let's me delete the duplicate records first. One, another one is this. Then there is no ADCS. Jennifer Davis is present multiple times. Let's me delete this. This is my first table of actor name. So this table follow the first normalization form, which say each row should be a unique row. Second normalization form say that each table contain a primary key. So my actor ID is primary key for this table. Next go to the second table. Second table will be my address table. The table name is actor address. Apply this table, so that should be delete, and any other data, this one will be delete. Now all records are unique in this table. So here also primary key for this table. So primary key will be name ID. Next is title and movie. So these are my primary key. Now we create all the table. Let's create our relation with this. So we know what is foreign key and what is primary key. Primary key we use this column, and foreign key a key which is a primary key of another table. This column name is address vector. So instead of the writing all the details, I can put only the single ID of this actor. So this actor will be staying in ID number 1, this will be 2, this will be 3, this one will be 4, this one will be 1, this one will be 5, this one will be 8. So these are my address for this actor, which means this actor living in this place. So let's connect it movies table. So this actor did 1 movie, 2 movie, 3 movie, 5 address living in the address of 23 Workhaven Lane, and his movie name will be S. Goldfinger. So instead of putting all the record into a single table, we create multiple tables and mapped them using a relationship. So now we clear about primary key, foreign key and data normalization form. Next is entity relation diagram. ER model. ER model stands for entity relationship model. It is a high level of data modeling. This model is used to define the data element in the relationship for a specific system. This is the hierarchy of a ER model. There is entity, attribute and relationship. How we can define this ER model? And as you know, entity is a object. What is weak entity? Weak entity is a entity that depends on another type entity called weak entity. Weak entity does not contain any key. These are the attributes of the entity relation model. So there is another thing in entity relationship model is relationship. So there are 4 type relationship present in database. One is one-to-one relationship. One-to-one relationship means a single table, a row dependence on another table. Then one-to-many relationship, when only one instance of entity of a table dependent on more than one instance of another table. It is known as one-to-many relationship. Let's understand these two relationship in our existing. So if in this table this my actor was only dependent on movie table, which is one-to-one field, actor name table row 1 will dependent on movie actor. No, 7 number actor was dependent on row number 6. These are the one-to-one relationship because these all are a unique foreign key in this column. But in this address field I can see duplicate foreign key in this column, which means this address use these two actors. One record is dependent in two records, which means many to one. Other way, one record is dependent on many records, which means one to many relationship. These are the example of the one to one, one to many, many to one. And last one is many to many. When more than one instance, when more than one instance of entity on the left table that dependent on more than one instance of right table, it known as many to many relationship. Many to many relationship, we have to create another table which contain both foreign key. If one actor multiple film in this table and one movie having multiple actor, so this is the example of many to many, which means my actor number 1 was I act on 3 movie, which is Academy of Dinosaur, Age of Goldfinger and African X. And if a single movie having multiple actor. Let's choose any movie name. Agent Truman. Agent Truman, which is row is 6. This is the movie name, and for this movie my actor number 2 Chase, Jennifer Davis and Joy Swank was worked. So one movie has multiple actor, one actor has multiple movie. It's actor. So one actor did multiple movie and one movie has multiple actor. This is an example of many-to-many relationship. Let's understand with an example of ER diagram, how we can create an ER diagram. Let's create our ER model diagram of our existing table. Let's create the schema first. Schema name is actor data. I can select a generic or I can select a MySQL. You can choose whatever you want to. Let me create one table. Table name is actor name and field is the primary key, which is actor ID, which is a primary key, and save, add another key, then address ID, and then for address table let me create, for address table let me give the name first, and here also my fields are actor address ID, which is a primary key, then address, then phone number is unique, then movie name, which is a unique, and last one is release year. In this actor table I have two foreign key of address table and movie add the foreign key in this table. Foreign key reference table will be my address table, and this then so here the reference will be a movie actor and primary key of the table is AMID. This is the relation of my table. This is a foreign key of this table and foreign key of this table. Later video we will discuss the language of the database. Hello friends, don't forget to like and subscribe our channel.